Hey guys, how you doing? It's a lovely Thursday here in Croatia. The weather is absolutely beautiful, and I just got my haircut today. I saw my old friends from my old job, and I'm having ribs being cooked in the oven right now, and a beer being cooled in the fridge, and I thought, why not record this last game I played last night? It's not actually the last game I played last night. It's second to last, penultimate, you might say. Um, and it's against a guy called Nvrvr. I have no idea what kind of name that is. He probably just pressed random buttons on the keyboard when making his name. But anyway, it's in Semois. I'm playing as the US against Wehrmacht. Yesterday, I didn't choose US when auto matching. I just put a random army. Like the system itself could use any army it wanted. And I ended up in a game playing as Panzer Elite. And this was like the first or second time in my life I played as Panzer Elite, and I beat the guy very easily, which is like not really empirical proof, but it is kind of proof that, for me at least, that playing as Panzer Elite is so easy. If you know how to play the game, if you understand the mechanics, you can beat pretty much anyone with Panzer Elite except the very, very top players, right? The game was done in like 10 minutes. I dominated from the very start, which is why I don't like playing against Panzer Elite, because if the guy you're playing against, if you're playing against the US, and the guy you're playing against, the Panzer Elite, is good, he understands the game, he's gonna beat you. Unless you're like that good that it, outweighs it. But anyway, this is yesterday's game. It's gonna be sort of a long game. It was very tense. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. It's sort of a game I would enjoy watching, which is why I'm making this video right now, why I'm going to be posting it later. This Jeep, if you're wondering what it's doing, he's waiting for the capping to start here so he can put pressure on the unit that's capping. Um, and I played like 7 or 8 games last night. I won 5 in a row, I think, and most of those were very like short games, very simple, 15 minutes, not longer than that. So I didn't think it would be of any value to post them because they would be kind of boring to watch, I think, because we all want to see these more interesting, tense games, where there's actually something at stake and where the players, actually have to fight, truly fight against one another. So this is why I'm posting this game. Um, Pretty much nothing is happening right now. I have my riflemen moving into the center of the map, and this guy is going to try to move around me with these Volksgrenadiers while the riflemen are capping this. And obviously the engineer is on a capping mission for everything here. The other engineer is on a capping mission here. And the other day I played a game against Wehrmacht, I think it was, or was it PE? I don't really recall. On this very map, Semois, and I also started from this base. And the guy kept decapping this point and this point the entire game, and I lost. And I realized after losing that there are two primary reasons I lost. For one, I realized that I don't do enough of strategical decapping in my games. So I don't decap crucial points like this one and this one enough when playing, and this is something that I told myself yesterday that I'm going to focus on as I play. No matter what map is, I will sometimes send people to decap this, but this guy kept doing it throughout the entire game. Like every 3 minutes, he would decap this or this, and I would have to spend time recapping it. And I told myself, I'm going to do the same thing against my next opponent, and this is something that I really tried to do in this game. And you're going to see me doing it multiple times because, for example, from his perspective, decapping this is very, very important, because if he decaps this, I don't get any of this uh, ammunition here. These two rifleman squads obviously were too much for the Volksgrenadiers in here. This is getting capped. He's going to move in with another Volksgrenadier squad with the MP40. Is that the MP44? I honestly, I can't remember the name of this gun right now. I'm gonna Google it on my phone. My World War II knowledge is usually better than this. This is not an actual reflection of my knowledge, but you know how sometimes a word will just elude you? Well, that's what's happening to me right now. These guys are idle. I should have moved them up here. Obviously, they were too slow, and he's gonna dodge that grenade. These guys are still not moving in. That's bad management from me. I would have the upper hand if I had moved them in. I'm gonna put them in the church. Am I not? Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Oh yeah, that Jeep is dead. That Jeep is dead as hell. And you see, I capped this because if I cap this, he doesn't get this ammunition point here, which is literally just a mirrored version of this point, right? It's a weak point. And he's gonna do something. I have no idea what. I'm gonna go for a decap here. I have no idea what he's doing. I know what's going to happen, but now in retrospect that I'm looking at it, I honestly have no idea what the plan was here for him. Yeah, it is the MP44. I just checked it on my phone. It is the MP44 Sturmgewehr, and obviously the vanilla Volksgrenadiers were armed. Oh yeah, these guys are gonna die. He's gonna make it out? Oh no, he won't. That would be weird if he did. Vanilla Volksgrenadiers were armed with the classic Karabiner 98K, which is, you know, one of the greatest weapons. We're talking small caliber weapons of the Second World War. A gun that was, by the way, later used pretty much all across the world. It even found its way into Afghanistan, believe it or not. And it was such a reliable rifle. I know a lot about weapons because I'm ex-military myself. I have kind of a personal interest in weapons, even though I'm not a gun nut by any means. I'm not American, so I don't own any firearms. But I am interested in particularly the military history side of firearms. And I'm also working on, I'm a script writer, in case you didn't know that. I mean, you probably didn't. How the hell would you? That's my job. I'm a freelance writer, and I mostly do short movie and documentary scripts and YouTube scripts. And I'm currently working on a channel. I'm the script writer behind the channel Shooting Blanks. And at this point in time, it's a new channel. It has almost 20,000 subscribers, and we essentially break down the use of firearms and the history of firearms used in movies. So I have a lot of gun knowledge thanks to my job, and also just, you know, from generally from as a personal interest in life. But it's part of my job to read a lot and learn a lot about various kinds of firearms. And when it comes to the Karabiner 98K, it was an incredibly versatile firearm. And the German, oh yeah, there we go with the motor pool. The German designated sniper rifles during the Second World War were actually just run-of-the-mill Karabiner 98Ks, or Kar 98K as Americans like to call them. They were just run-of-the-mill Kar 98Ks, which with an added telescopic sight. That's all it was. They didn't make a special rifle for it. You know, there wasn't like a separate rifle design for the German sniper rifle. And it was incredibly effective. The Karabiner was reported by soldiers as being, even without telescopic sights, just with regular iron sights, up to 300 meters. It could suppress a unit very easily. You know, a group of well-trained Volksgrenadiers could suppress them very easily. And at the same time, when they added those telescopic sights, it was just, you know, a whole different beast. You know, you had German snipers firing, killing enemies at 800 or so meters, which was incredible back in the day. And one of the reasons German snipers performed so well is because Germany was the only country in the Second World War that had its own sniper academy. The Soviets established a sniper academy later, and they also established the first, I believe, the first in the world female-only sniper academy, which was pretty impressive. But before the war, Germans were the only ones who, prepared their snipers in advance. Essentially, they when the war started, they already had their own sniper units, which were very well trained in their academies, while American soldiers, British soldiers, Soviet soldiers, when the war started, they were all just kind of winging it. They didn't have any training. They had like a short sniper course, we might call it. And as they got later into the war, they got more training. But when the war started, German snipers were ready to go. They were fully trained. They had an academy, and they since Russia, not Russia, the USSR and Germany had that pact of not attacking each other, right? Um, some USSR soldiers even went to Germany to train their snipers at their academy. So Germany was, on purpose or not, I do not know, but Germany was literally teaching its future enemies how to use sniper rifles. And these sniper academies didn't just involve marksmanship. I know that I'm blabbering about snipers right now, but this is such an interesting topic to me. I'm sorry. These sniper academies didn't just involve straight up marksmanship, they were also doing a lot of work on small unit tactics. And for example, the famous Russian, this has nothing to do with German academies, by the way, but the famous Russian sniper Vasily Zaitsev. If you don't know who he is, I suggest you check it out on Wikipedia. I'm going to put the name on the screen here. Maybe I'm going to put a picture too. He is probably the most effective, pound for pound, the most effective Soviet sniper of the Second World War. He also didn't go to an academy, but he grew up in the wilderness of Russia, where he had to learn how to kill animals from an early age to, so his family would have food. And what happened is that Vasily didn't go through an academy, but he developed on his own a 3-sniper tactic in which he would attack alongside his sniper team, which would consist of 2 other snipers. So the 3 of them together would engage an enemy, and he would use the 2 other snipers to draw enemy fire, often the fire of another sniper, and then he would deliver the finishing blow. And this strategy of using other snipers to reveal the enemy sniper location was so effective that it is still taught in sniper schools to this very day. It is an incredible tactic that he developed on the spot without ever actually having like any official sniper school education. And that's just one tidbit of information about Second World War that's really interesting to me. And all this talk about snipers, and I don't use a sniper in this game. You're not going to see it coming out. I don't even think you're going to see a sniper from Nvrvr. But as you can see here, I went into early motor pool. I lost my M8 very early because I did not see this coming. I honestly don't know why he brought out the pack. And the reason I'm saying that is because he's kind of playing defensively. He's been on the back foot the entire game now. I mean, since the game started at least. And his priority should be pushing forward, right? It should be taking this territory here, even this. And he did push forward by like millimeters, but he didn't effectively push forward at any point, right? So packs are, by default, defensive weapons against armor and light armor. And what you need right now is a Puma, right? What he needs right now is a Puma or a Stu. And he has Krieg Barracks, and he went for the Kampfkraft Center to get veterancy. So, in my opinion, this was not necessarily a mistake, but I would have played it differently if I were him. A lot of combat is going to revolve around this point because this is plus 10 fuel, and I need to cut him off. And I realized I don't know whose game I saw, but I realized at some point that when it comes to Semois specifically, which is this map we're playing, keeping your M8 on this island is very smart, because you can engage here at any moment, and you can engage here at any moment as well, and here. And it's difficult to get the anti-tank gun to hit you here, so you're sacrificing a little bit of speed for a lot of security, for a lot of safety. You know, he put his anti-tank gun right here, but I'm in no danger at all. He would need to bring it all the way here to put me in danger, and he would be so exposed that I would easily flank him with my rifleman, and he knows that, which is why he's not doing it. And what he's doing right now is very smart. He's trying to decap this, he capped this. He's trying to balance, like, balance it out a little bit, and that's precisely what he should be doing. And is the M8 gonna get the squad wipe? I hope so. I honestly don't remember. I know what's going to happen in the end, and I know that it's going to be quite a tense game, but I honestly don't know what's happening in these, like, small moments right here. Nah, no squad wipe. Oh, almost. That was very close. But yeah, they're trying to destroy this this OP, which is very smart, because as long as this OP exists, I have an, you know, plus 28 fuel rate, and when I take this, it's gonna be like plus 40. So that's very smart from him. And he's not gonna manage to do it, clearly. A single engineer here. What in God's name is he doing? But yeah, he's getting he kind of managed to balance the field right now, because he got this territory, he got all of this. But this is very easy for me to take back, and so is this. And there we go, that's what he needed, definitely Stu, because otherwise he's too defensive. And I'm floating a lot of manpower, I'm aware of that. And I should have maybe spent it on supply yard upgrades. But the reason I'm floating a lot of manpower is because I want to get an artillery piece. I want a 105mm howitzer, which I'm going to get, I assume, at any moment now. And I'm now preparing for a coordinated attack from two sides. So we're talking about a flank, but I just need to get my M8 repaired. And the Stu is... I don't think the Stu is technically a tank. I think it's a self-propelled gun. I think, just technically speaking, I don't think it's a tank. Because it doesn't have a rotating dome. And in order to be defined as a tank, you need to have a rotating dome, you know? And as you can see here, the Stu doesn't have that. He can move his gun a little bit on each side, but he generally just doesn't have a dome. So I think the Stu technically isn't a tank. I think the Stu is technically a self-propelled, or maybe self-propelled artillery. I'm not 100% sure. I would need to look that up. I'm going to check when I'm finishing this video. When I'm editing it, I'm going to put in a declaration on the screen here. But what you're seeing right now, with his stormtroopers being hidden, he's going to keep doing it. Keep an eye out on that, because throughout the entire game, he's going to go on these covert operations with these stormtroopers armed with Panzerschrecks, in which he will attempt to destroy my armor that way. And this is a bit of a frustrating ability for me, because he can essentially assemble like 4 or 5 of these guys who are not taking damage now for some reason. I mean, have you just seen that? This M8 just emptied probably like 2 entire drums of magazines into them, and they literally did not lose a single, like maybe 1% damage. I have no idea how is that possible. I don't even think they're in green cover, honestly, but you know. And he's gonna keep doing that. Oh yeah, got a kill. He's gonna keep doing that the entire game. You're gonna see. Obviously, there's gonna be some armor in the late game. It's gonna get super tense and stuff like that. I'm getting out my anti-tank piece. But he's gonna keep doing it the entire game. That's gonna be pretty much his main strategy for dealing with for dealing with my armor, it's not going to be artillery. It's not going to be anti-tank guns. It's going to be anti-tank units, mostly stormtroopers, and they're mostly going to hide, and they're going to, they're going to try to fuck me up. Pretty much what's going to happen. And there we go with the howitzer. And these guys are close to veterancy 1. These guys are actually close to veterancy 2. They're doing pretty well. This brother needs some fixing.
He needs some
And you're
milk.
going to see stupid... this I remember because I realized what was happening while I was doing it. He capped this, right? So he has like a field of vision. Let me show you. This is what he can see. And I completely forgot about it. And by accident, I sent my artillery gun right here. So I essentially revealed... He doesn't know that I have an artillery gun at this time. And now he knows, because I accidentally showed it to him. And this was very bad for me. You don't want your enemy to know that you have an artillery piece. You want your enemy to unknowingly drive their tank or their armored car or whatever it is into your artillery piece's field of fire. And I pretty much just told him, hey, I have, not artillery, I meant anti-tank. And I pretty much just told him, hey, I have an anti-tank gun here. It is a form of deterring. Oh my god, that was a good kill. It is a good form of deterrence because no tank is going to knowingly walk into anti-tank fire. Well, unless you're the Germans at the Battle of Kursk. History guys will know what I just said. But generally, tanks won't knowingly, or in real life and in the game, they won't knowingly walk into a field of fire. And so it's a form of deterrence, but still, you need to try to catch them by surprise. Pretty much, warfare in general very often boils down to the element of surprise. The lack of the element of surprise, the fact that the Allies lost it during Operation Market Garden, which is the biggest failed Allied operation in World War II, it pretty much all boils down to the lack of surprise, because the Germans, luckily for them, managed to figure out what the Allies would be doing. And they pretty much got the entire plans of Operation Market Garden as soon as it started. Not as soon as it started, but somewhere in the beginning stages they realized what the Allies were planning. And pretty much at that point it was GG, right? You can't win an operation. You can't succeed in a military operation that relies largely on the element of surprise if there is no element of surprise, right? And that's what happened in Operation Market Garden, and that's what happened with this anti-tank piece here, which is my fault. But as I said, I've committed to many behind the lines operations of decapping crucial points like this one. And this is something that I'll keep on trying to do throughout the entire game. You're gonna see how well it works or how poorly it works eventually. And if you're wondering what the hell am I doing with my armored car right now, I'm just trying to block him in. I'm just trying to block him so he can't move, so my artillery gun can get some shots off. But apparently my artillery gun is too slow, so I'm just gonna back the hell away. I'm just gonna use the M8, to do some bullying, and I'm gonna get the hell out of there, because this is a losing engagement for me, and there's no point in sacrificing anything, really. I should have gone for this first instead of the ammo point, but that's neither here nor there.
What are my coordinates?
But something that I like about this game is that I've managed to keep my infantry alive for pretty much since the beginning of the game. And this is something, if you've seen my videos, my older videos, you know that this is something I've had an issue with, that I kind of like to sacrifice my infantry, and I don't do it on purpose, but I often overestimate, we have the first M tank, I often overestimate the survivability of the infantry, and instead of, for example, putting them here, let's say that there's an engagement going on here, instead of putting them here, I'll often just run straight at the opponent, because I heard a lot of players who are much more knowledgeable than me, obviously, I heard a lot of them say that when it comes to American infantry, you need to get up close and personal with the Germans, because the Germans have an advantage from afar. They're more accurate from afar, but if you get close to them, you're going to win the engagement. So, and I maybe took that a little bit too literally. And right now, as I'm playing in these past few games and the games that are only going to come, I am going to try to keep my infantry safe. I'm going to try to play more conservatively with my infantry. And this is something that I think is a mistake from his part, though. He brought all of these troops here just to scare away my single rifleman. And is this really all necessary? Like, the Stu? Is the Stu really necessary? We could have just gone with these two and I probably would have lost that engagement, so I don't think the Stu was really necessary. But yeah. As you can tell, he's not winning the engagements with his behind the line strategy against this M8, because he needs to get a few hits to destroy me, and he can't just kill me with 2 hits, you know. Oh, he does have a sniper, and that's the German Academy sniper I was talking to you about. But anyway, I have a small combat group of M8s, of M10s, I apologize, of M10s ready to storm the area. I have a flank from here, and here they come, and their job is to destroy this bunker and destroy this this Stu. And since I bombarded the hell out of it just before the assault itself started, it is going to be a completely what's the word, successful assault, because this artillery piece is so important. Because when the bombs start dropping here, it dealt a lot of they actually started dropping in this area here. It dealt a lot of damage to the bunker. And did he just suicide his bunker? I think he just did with his mortar crew. That was definitely not one of my bombs. He suicided his bunker. I did not do that. But yeah, so these two M10s did a really good job. And it brought a little bit of balance. Where is his... Oh, there they are. There they are. So yeah, these M10s definitely paid for themselves by destroying that bunch too. And at this point, I'm obviously realizing that he has no armor in the game. And I need to use that. Because infantry to infantry, I have better troops. And I would dare say that I'm a bit of a better player, because I think he's playing too conservatively. He's retreating. You can force him. I realized at some point in the game that I can force retreat him so easily that it's kind of funny. Like, he's going to avoid all engagements. He doesn't even want to lose a single soldier, and if you play like that, you're going to lose. Speaking of, after this game, I played another game which I won, and I didn't want to record it. I'm not going to record it because it was a stupid game. It was against this guy we played on Nvrvr, and the game was entirely... And there we go, Vetu. The game was entirely defensive from his, on his part. So the guy basically, as soon as the game started, oh, there we go. My ribs need to be turned. So I'm going to pause this right here, and I'll be back in a second. And we're back. The ribs look beautiful, by the way, guys. Maybe I'm gonna insert a picture here of what my lunch looks like, because I'm gonna have lunch immediately as soon as I'm done recording this. So maybe I'll take a picture and show you what my lunch looks like. Anyway, what I was saying was that yesterday, after this game, this was my, as I said, penultimate game of the evening, and after this game, I played another game on Nvrvr against Wehrmacht, against the guy, and I started north, he played south. And as soon as the game started, he just started digging in. This brother was not concerned at all about trying to win resources. He just capped some basic stuff around his base, and then started putting up a barbed wire. And aside from barbed wire, he also put a lot of tank traps and stuff like that. And it was such a stupid game. I was winning from the minute one, but it was kind of difficult because he played extremely defensively. But at no point was I in danger of losing, but it was such a long game. It was like 40 minutes of me just trying to break down through his defenses because he just armed himself to the teeth with bunkers and anti-tank guns, and it was the worst game of Company of Heroes I played. I won very comfortably, but it was so bad, it was so boring, and this is not the way you're supposed to play. You're supposed to, be a little bit aggressive. And it was just a very poor game, and in the end he brought out a Tiger, and I already had, I think, two M10s and a Sherman, and I destroyed it, and I was winning on victory points the entire
MG
game.
gunner up and firing.
Oh my god, that was so loud. The MG gunner up and firing, it was so loud. It actually scared me for a moment. I was winning on victory points the entire game, and in the end, it was like 500 on my side victory points against his 15 when he wrote, "All right, good game." And I thought, bro, did you seriously think you were winning this? You were like in your own base for 42 minutes out of this 45-minute game. But yeah, it was a strategy. Not saying it was a good one, but it was certainly one of the strategies of all time, So yeah, don't play defensively. And before that, I played a game in which the guy I was playing against, when it was here on Semois, and it was a very quick game. That's why I'm not posting it, because it would be kind of boring. But basically, the guy started with 3 snipers. That was his strategy. Not even a double sniper spam. It was a fucking triple sniper spam. And I swear to God, he started with 3 snipers, and he didn't have any anti-tank, no nothing. And I just came in with a single M8 and killed a single M8, killed all of his 3 snipers somewhere around here in a single swoop, right? And after that, he was so backtracked because snipers are expensive for both Germans and allies, right? And he essentially lost almost 1,000 manpower points within 10 seconds. That's how terrible that was for him. And after that, he tried mounting a counterattack with the Pumas, but at that point, I already had like 3 M8s on the field and a bunch of infantry with sickies, and when I destroyed one of his Pumas, he just wrote in the chat, "A waste of time." Those were his exact words, and I wrote, I think, "Bro, you played some triple snipers and you're talking about something like some fucking waste of time. What the fuck are you talking about?" And then he just dropped. I don't know what he meant by waste of time, but yeah, his gameplay definitely was a waste of time because you can go full snipers and no support from anything. He barely even had regular infantry. And snipers are, as we know, they're very vulnerable. They're very easy to kill. They're difficult to find, and they can easily kill you. But oh my god, that sniper is lucky to be alive. But that sniper is very lucky to be alive. Oh goodness. But snipers are very easy to kill. So if you play triple snipers, you're looking to get your ass beat, honestly. And that's pretty much what happened. I don't know what this engagement is from his side. I have double vet rifleman. He has triple vet. What are these guys called? Stormtroopers. I can't believe I forgot that. I don't know why he thinks that he has a chance in this engagement. He barely made it out alive.
Sergeant, get an MG on the roof of this tin can.
Once again,
it's time to shred some krauts.
This shit scared the fuck out of me right now. I keep forgetting, this is the second time this happened to me. I keep forgetting that in the game, I kept forgetting that he's using the camouflage ability of his stormtroopers. I just keep leaving my M10s somewhere around here, and he just keeps sneaking up on them and shooting them. Very bad for me, because I should have done much better there. But yeah, it is what it is. But this M10 needs to get the hell out of there, and he needs to stop showing his ass, because he's gonna get bit. If you show your ass to your enemy, the enemy generally tends to bite you in the ass. So try to not show your ass to the enemy. And yeah. And this is going to be a big engagement right here. I hope that my artillery is shooting. I honestly don't remember what's going... No, these guys are dead. They're definitely dead, right? Oh, they're gonna make it out? Oh my god, that was lucky as hell. I need some artillery to come down. Oh, there we go. That's exactly what you need in that type of situation. You definitely need some artillery to come down, and there he comes. I don't know, a lot of Wehrmacht players... I kind of feel like they over-rely on the Tiger. The Tiger is a good tank, but it's not invincible. And it's not as good as World War II movies make it out to be. It was... Okay, here's my thing with the Tiger. It's a very well-designed, very difficult to kill tank in the sense that it has thick armor, it has a big-ass gun, but there are two things you need to know about the Tiger. First of all, it's slow, and it can only drive on roads. You want to take him through a muddy field? Impossible. So the Tiger is not getting through a muddy field, right? You want to take him through a swamp? You're not taking him through a swamp. You're just not going to do that. And it also was kind of over-engineered. So you would often, per 1 hour of use, you needed 1 hour of maintenance for the Tiger. In comparison, the Sherman, the humble Sherman, which was just the Sherman was simply the workhorse of the American armor and British armor to an extent because they use Fireflies, right, which are Sherman tanks. The Sherman can go on for 4 hours of combat and just driving for 1 hour of maintenance. So you have 1 hour of usage for 1 hour of maintenance, 4 hours of usage for 1 hour of maintenance. So, and if you can get 3 Shermans to attack a Tiger, they're going to destroy him, no doubt. And it was definitely a formidable sight to see, because can you imagine seeing something this big in the 40s? And keep in mind, this was a time when tanks weren't, you know, as good, as popular in pop culture as they are today. So for a lot of people, this was the equivalent of, for example, us today seeing a fucking alien spaceship under the sky. But the fact of the matter is, the Tiger was formidable psychologically, and it was most definitely a dangerous tank, but it was not unbeatable. And I feel like movies kind of try to develop this picture. Oh, I just lost all my infantry right there. That was a terrible, terrible move for me. I kind of feel like movies try to develop this image of the Tiger as being this invincible tank, and it's not. It's just not. And it also wasn't that common. There were very, very few Tigers, actually. Not like dozens, but there were like hundreds of them, but there weren't thousands of them. The Germans mostly relied on Panzer IV, Panzer IV, and Panzer III. So the Tiger was like creme de la creme, but it was actually, as a general workhorse tank, it was not really that good. And it was also not common. It required too much maintenance. It put too much strain on German logistics to work, and it was also just not it was not frequent enough to be relevant in a game-winning sense. And I'm talking about World War II, the actual thing. I'm not talking about Company of Heroes right now. And I feel like Company of Heroes reflected this really well, because it's really difficult to penetrate. But if you can surround it, you can beat it. And it's slow, which is reflective of what it was in real life, and it costs a lot, which it should, because it was a very expensive. Yeah, it's 800 manpower, and it should also cost some fuel, because this motherfucker drank fuel like, you know, I don't know, I'm gonna say like P Diddy and, you know, fucking lube. Not that P Diddy drinks lube, but he used it to such an incredible extent. And these American tanks, while, by the way, my Shermans are upgunned. I don't know if you noticed that. They have the, I don't know what's it called. Is it the 85 millimeter gun? I'm not sure. But anyway, these tanks, while slower and while they have smaller guns and thin and worse armor, they are quicker, more maneuverable. You can take them into places where you can't take the Tiger. Some of them could move through swamps. They drank less fuel, they required less maintenance, and they were generally just in larger numbers they were more useful. And that's pretty much it. And this is in the end why the Tiger did not make a difference, even though it was designed as a difference. It was designed as the thing you bring into the fight when you want to call it GG. For in real life I'm talking about, not in the game. And in the end, it did not serve its purpose in that regard. And a lot of stuff is happening right now, and I called in an off-map combat group, and I got 2 anti-tank guns. And the Tiger was just destroyed. I'm sorry you didn't catch that on camera, because I was just off to see the combat group, but it was destroyed by the M10. Or was it? No, it was the Sherman, actually. But anyway, that's a huge loss, because that's 800 manpower gone just like that. And this building is about to go down, I think, and this artillery needs to do some work. And there we go, the sniper is dead. And that's a loss, M8, but you know what? It served a good purpose. It's prevented a counter-attack, because that's pretty much all he has at this point, right? He has this squad, this squad, this squad, which is healing up, and this squad. And you know how desperate he is when he's using the mortar team to cap. But yeah, at this point I'm aware, in the game I was aware that the field is right open, that I can go on and cap this. I needed to fix this gun because I was afraid he might call in Panzer IVs or the Tiger or another Tiger or something, who knows. But basically, once they're done fixing these guys up, I'm gonna have 2 experienced veterancy tanks, veterancy artillery, anti-tank guns. I'm pretty much fully prepared for an armored assault. One thing and that's pretty much that's what's happening. As I said, again, you just don't learn your lesson, man. The issue is, in my opinion, in the game, that I only have 2 infantry units, and that's very poor for me, because I should have more. I lost my infantry through pure carelessness, you know, and this is something that I wasn't supposed to allow this to happen. And right now, if I had just 1 or not even 2 infantry squads, if I had just 1 more infantry squad, this would be GG. This would be very easy GG, because he wouldn't have a chance, you know. If I had a machine gun squad to post it up in this house. But yeah. Still, I'm in a very dominant position. It's just that, in my opinion, it needed to be... This guy needs to move in. But the damage was so extensive, I didn't even get to repair him completely. But as I said, that gunfire is amazing. I'm gonna stick with this Tiger, by the way. We're not gonna... it's gonna get destroyed, obviously. We're not gonna miss it this time, like with the last one. But that gun on the Tiger is amazing, because it just destroyed that anti-tank gun right there. Absolutely destroyed him. But still, the game is not over on either side. He still has a chance. If he had destroyed these 2 tanks with his Tiger, I would have been in a perilous position. He just needed to rotate his front armor towards me, and I would have been much worse off than I am right now. And there we go. Look at it. It's like a flaccid penis. It is. It is a Tiger tank with erectile dysfunction. Oh, and that's it. The game is over. I didn't even check that. Yeah, he dropped because it's 360 in points. The Tiger is about to get destroyed. I'm holding these points. It was kind of messy in the end there for me, just because I lost so much infantry because I'm an idiot. But if I had like just one or two more infantry squads, it would have been everything would have been much easier. This game would have been over 10 minutes ago. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. This is probably my favorite video to record yet because I don't know why, but this game was just very interesting to watch in retrospect. Much more interesting than the videos I posted before, I think. And if I could criticize one thing about me, it's just the loss of infantry because I had like 4 or 5 infantry squads and only 2 of them were kept alive. One of which I believe came through an off-map combat group, so I didn't build them through my barracks. If I had kept out of those altogether 5 squads, if I had just kept one more squad alive, or God forbid 2, this game would have been over 10 minutes ago. That's my biggest issue in the game. I'm happy with how I managed tanks at the same time. Uh, I mean, on the at the same time as infantry, because these tanks went to work. I lost one Sherman and I lost one M10, but he lost 2 Tigers and 2 Stus. So I think that's a definitive win for me. And that's pretty much it. My anti-tank guns, I'm always poor with anti-tank guns because they're very immobile and he has very mobile troops, so it is what it is. Um, and I lost my M8s in a fair game. He pretty much spammed these stormtroopers with Panzerschrecks, and I lost my M8s to them, and that's fair. Nothing really to comment on there. But overall, I think I had good territorial control, and I only started losing my infantry. I played carefully with them as I told myself I would, and it did result in a victory ultimately. But I only lost them later in the game when things started getting chaotic and I started losing control. And the reason this happens to me is because I never really played strategic games when I was a kid. So I don't think I have those instincts to keep my eyes on every single piece of the playing field at the same time. Because I know that some of you out there have been playing games such as Company of Heroes since you were like 6 or 5 years old. And some of you guys out there just have instincts that I don't and stuff like that, and it's not a problem for you that 2 engagements are going on and both are huge here and here at the same time. For example, you're going to be in control of both. Well, whereas for me, where that happens, I kind of if I'm controlling the engagement here, I'm completely going to forget about the one happening here. Not long term, but temporarily for like 20 seconds, I'm going to forget to look on what's happening here, and when that happens, you lose units. But yeah, I think that's just something that comes with experience, so I'm not too worried about it. And another thing that I think I did well, I decapped and capped this point probably like 5 or 6 times, and the same thing happened with this point and these points. So my behind the lines insertion missions and decapping missions were successful, and it obviously led to a victory. When it comes to Nvrvr, I believe that the mistake he made was he was absolutely spamming these guys, and they were not as good against infantry. And since I had a lot of infantry, I managed to repel the grenadiers and the stormtroopers with relative ease. And in the very early game, the Volksgrenadiers were getting their asses wiped all over asses wiped is not really what you say. That's not an expression. But they were getting wiped all over the floor and all over the board. And I believe that the veterancy, while useful in the early game, maybe he should have invested in some Pumas or something, because I don't know if you remember, but he had veterancy 1 and veterancy 2 infantry units within like 15 minutes, which means that in the first 15 minutes he invested into pioneers, Volksgrenadiers, and their veterancy. And in that early game, I kind of believe that Pumas and light armor are more important and more useful than veterancy, but that's just me, you know. Aside from that, I think he actually played well, but I just kept decapping this. I decapped it like 3 or 4 times. He managed to recap it, but he only managed to decap this, which, while it is important, it's not as important as this point. He should have tried decapping this. He did try once, to be fair, but he didn't manage, but he should have tried again, and he should have tried to decap this, which he did try, but he didn't manage to destroy it. But the thing is, he had a Stu which wasn't doing much at some point, and he could have brought it over here to destroy the observation post. It would have been completely safe because I had nothing to counter it. But yeah, that's it. Anyway, the game is over. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go have lunch. And you saw, I presume, what I'm having for lunch, so I'm definitely gonna have a good time today. And yeah, that's it. See you guys on the next one.